The really important aspect of it is that they included the audience from the beginning. So the target audience, they asked, there was a challenge like how can we design this new intuitive and explorative and playful way of browsing through our collection, but they included directly the audience to see whatever they want. And the interesting part of this was that they were not afraid to use the digital archive. Like, okay, this is we got this material. Let's see what our audience want to do with it. And I think if you reach that level, then you reached digital transformation.
Hello and welcome to Traiettorie, the podcast that talks about cultural organization and gives voice to experts that manage, lead and communicate this organization. The podcast is realized by Delizia Media and BAM Strategie Culturali. I am Giacomo, founder of Delizia Media, and he is Federico, the co-founder and partner of BAM Strategie Culturali. Today is a special episode. It's our first episode in English. We are doing it the day after Creators Day, an event that we, BAM and Delizia Media, organized to put in contact culture and new media. And we invited an international guest from Eye FilmMuseum, Max Graven, the digital project manager of the organization. Hi, how are you?
Hi, thank you for inviting me and for having me over here. And congratulations on the wonderful event yesterday, the Creators Day. It was super inspiring, thank you. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for being here.
So thank you for being here. We take this occasion also to thank the Embassy and the Consulate General of the Kingdom of the Netherlands, which supported us in having you here. The theme of this chat today with us will be digital transformation. In Italy, it is a major theme since several months already, several years, but especially since our government decided to invest quite a lot of money coming from the EU, from the post-COVID recovery plans, from the post-COVID crisis, decided to invest it in the digital and green transition of cultural organizations. We think that in this process, we need to set confrontations and to confront with practices outside Italy. And we invited Max, especially because we think that cultural organizations in the Netherlands, and museums in particular, have a sort of a special way to think about culture and heritage, especially museums, and someone calls it a sort of a Dutch touch. I don't know, Max, what do you think? It is true? What is it that you do that is particular in the Netherlands with culture?
Yeah, well, first of all, I think the term Dutch touch is a really nice one. I've never heard about it before, but I think that nowadays in the Netherlands we are like exploring how we can show our collections in museums on a different way, like a new way. Just try to find new narratives to tell all the stories that are within our collections, and not to show only the artifacts like it used to be, like back in the days, but try to find new explorative, intuitive ways of telling these new narratives. So it suits better these recent time. Like we're in the 21st century, new stories, new research, everything comes up, and I think in the Netherlands we are really trying to find these narratives, new narratives, and to present them.
I think it all started by a sort of playfulness also, no? Mm-hmm. What do you think?
Yeah.
Also, like 10, 15 years ago, Dutch museums had a sort of playful way to think about heritage, which was rather different for us. We tend to think about heritage in Italy as something that is quite distant, that is quite inaccessible, or not set on a high place somewhere. When I come to Dutch museums, I always have the feeling that you live in a more horizontal relation with your artifacts and with the heritage. Is it true?
That's a really good point, because I think in the Netherlands the whole cultural sector and museums, the organizational structure is pretty horizontal, you say. So it opens up possibilities for new initiatives, for experiments, and to try like playful stuff. And it's of course, the collections are precious and should be conserved like very well. But we are not that scary just to experiment with playful interactions. I think we are open for.
And do you see this difference also with Italy when coming to a museum? Or
Yeah,
is just our perception that?
Well, I mean, of course, you are doing also really nice, cool stuff and trying to find new ways. But maybe it's a bit of the classical image of like the Italian museum. It's like you've got a nice sculpture and with a little sign just in Italian next to it, and that's it. You should look at it and don't touch it or don't walk around it. But I think and also what I heard yesterday during the Creators Day, it's also, I think you are also trying to find new ways and to explore.
And that's where the digital comes and can help us in designing new kind of interactions and processes.
Yeah, but naturally, of course, we are a little bit behind also in the development as with many other things. But then, what is that digital project manager does? What do you do for the Eye FilmMuseum, and what is briefly also this museum?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, let me first start with explaining Eye FilmMuseum
because I always saw it from the central station, but I never understood that it was actually that museum. The building is amazing, super beautiful. So
yeah, it's quite amazing. So we are in this new, super high architectural building past the central station. So we are the National Film Museum, and actually the National Film Museum already exists for 75 years. But after a merger 15 years ago, we are now the new Eye Film Museum. And like a film museum, we present, of course, film. We have a cinema, but we do a lot of more stuff around there. We are a big player on the educational part of film in the Netherlands. We got a huge collection. We got over 60,000 film titles, and that's roughly 80,000 kilometers of film, like the material film. So
80 times around Italy, basically.
Yeah. So if you circumnavigate the world, you can do it twice with our film. So it's a lot. And of those 60,000 films, like 20% right now is digitized. So we got over 12,000 films in digital format. And we also have 3,000 born digital films. And I need to explain that maybe because born digital means like film that's produced in digital ways, like with modern cameras. And that collection is ever growing. It's expanding a lot.
And what do you do inside?
Yeah, and so yeah.
What's your role?
So my role is I'm a project manager of digital projects, and currently I'm working on the website and how to find ways to reach our audience and to get to know them better. And I do a couple of other digital projects on the site, and mainly what I try to do is also to explore and to find knowledge to bring it inside the museum just on digital parts, so we can learn from that and
digital has very different sides. Like
absolutely.
It's an instrument somehow to play with audiences, but it's also a source of information, of data about your audiences.
Yeah,
and I think I understand that you are at the center of several of these processes. Maybe if you tell us and our audience some of the digital projects you are involved in. It's interesting to understand how do you use this infrastructure to relate with your public, with your audience.
So we are doing a lot of digital projects in Eye, so that's really cool. And so it ranging from like the technical aspects from preservation, finding new ways to digitize films, till the more like the public digital projects to reach audience. And I think we'll talk about that, and I will give some examples because I think that relates to that Dutch touch where you started this conversation with. So one of the projects we did is called the Eye Film Player. It's our own streaming platform. Because like it's almost 15 years ago, we started a big digitization project through the Netherlands with several institutions to digitize a lot of our collection. So the 12,000 films I mentioned before in our collection, a really big part was done in that project. And as part of the project, we were like thinking, okay, we got all those nice digitized films. Maybe we can also present them to people who are not physically able to go to the museum to experience our films, or just don't want to, just want to sit at the comfort of their homes and just to watch the films. So a big part of it is presenting our digitized films that are in the public domain. So those are free of copyright, so you can do whatever you want with it. So we present those films on YouTube. But the problem with that is that there are old films, it's from the beginning of the 20th century. Yeah. But our collection is so much more diverse, so much broader. We got also like recent movies, of course, and we also want to show that the whole range of our collection to the audience. So that raised the challenge. Okay, how can we do it without within the limitations of the copyright? And so we came up with the idea like, okay, let's start our own streaming platform, because then we can rent the films and
compete with Netflix.
And compete with Netflix, yeah. So,
No, but was it also an idea to expand a little bit the audience of the museum, reach maybe Dutch, but I guess also international?
Yeah, that's true. So we are also reachable. We got an English version of the platform, the English site, and there are also a lot of films on it. Currently, there are over 450 films on the streaming platform, and the beautiful thing about it is that we are restricted by copyright, because because we own the film, like the physical film and the digital format of it, but we don't own the copyrights. The copyrights are at the right holders.
Of course.
So we can't do whatever we want with it, but now we show the films on a streaming platform. We ask a little bit money for it, of course, and half of the profit goes to those right holders. Okay. So it's a win-win situation. We can show our collection, and they earn a little bit money from it as well.
It's a very clever way to deal with the issue of copyright. That is, of course, a big issue if you are a museum, a film museum. Yeah. So you normally have artworks that can be very recent, and we know that film museums in Italy deal a lot with the problem of copyright, and so renting out the film is also setting a sort of possible business model to deal with the issue of copyright. So this is a nice practice.
And I really want to add on top of that, because this is there was the initial idea coming from that whole big digitization project, like, okay, maybe we can earn a little bit money, but there's also a really nice, and I think maybe even a more interesting addition to this, is that we use our online streaming platform like an extra cinema room we have. Mm-hmm. So throughout the whole year, we program a lot of beautiful thematical programs. Like we recently had a Turkish program, but also like around classics and so on. And this is also a way to extend that program that normally is happening within our cinemas to this online player. So it's also an extra addition to all those thematical programs.
And how is it going, this experiment? Like, it's no longer an experiment because
it's up and running. Yeah.
But like in terms of number, in terms of reach, in terms of views, it's something.
It's to be honest, I don't have the facts over here.
Yeah,
but it's going quite well. Of course, we need to compete with the big players like Netflix and so on.
But it's a different kind of job.
It's totally different, because we also curated like really with care, so we can show movies that you can't see anywhere else. So I mean, if you have a subscription to Netflix, you probably use Netflix. But if you really want to see that beautiful Italian movie from Fellini, for example, Otto e Mezzo, you can watch it at our platform. So that's also a way to be unique.
And I know you are also experimenting quite a lot with AI, with artificial intelligence in the recent past. And yesterday you presented a nice project on this. Can you
that's the next project. That's a really interesting project, and So it's called the Film Catcher, and it's within our permanent exhibition space. Because our permanent exhibition space is a place where you can discover the history of cinema, and it's already like an interactive space. You can do, it's not only seeing old cameras and stuff, but you can really interact with a different kind of aspects of cinema. But we also want to have an installation, interactive installation, where you can discover our collection. And so the idea was, okay, of course you can explore a collection by finding like the director, the year, the language, but those are a little bit linear and the boring.
Yeah, such a big
stuff. Yeah,
you can ask easily online.
Yeah, so we did a wonderful project. What ended in this film catcher. You have to imagine it's a big room, like with 360 projections. So the whole all the walls are projected with a lot of film fragments. And all those film fragments seem, on the first glance, they seem a bit random. But if you walk near it and you take an iPad, there are all iPads in the room, you can select a filter on themes that are more like visual in intuitive themes of film. So for example, the color red, or like an object, like a hat, or like food, you can select the theme, and it will project on the wall. So on the wall you will see a lot of fragments within that theme. Okay. So suddenly the wall will be colored like with all over with red scenes, or with hats, and that way it's not that you are exploring a collection through like years or something, but it's all over. And if you are interested in one particular scene that's happening, like it catch your eye, then you can point your iPad to it, and you can catch.
But is there a length of these fragments?
Yeah.
That you like a duration time?
Yeah.
Like
and that's
a reel, like Instagram reel?
1 minute? Yeah. It's even shorter. I think.
Short.
And that's the interesting part of it, because of course a film, like if you have a feature film of 1 hour, you've got so many scenes. So you got like red scenes, you got hat scenes, you got whatever in it. But that's the part where we used AI for it. So we selected more than 800 films of our collection, and we just throw it in an AI engine, and it was an image analyzer tool, and that AI system came up with a lot of themes and tags for these film fragments. But the interesting part is it's looking into the whole film, and it says, okay, in this part, like this, what you so-called a reel or whatever, like a small part of it, it says this is red, this is a hat. And so we selected all those fragments, those scenes, and we put it in those themes in the film catcher.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it's very interesting because it shows, I think, how you think about your collection as a digital library in the first place. Yeah. Like this is, I think, a very nice example of this digital mindset that we are always thinking about. Because when you think about a collection directly in a digital way, then you can design your processes and your also the setting of your museum according to that digital mindset. A sort of digital first version of a museography or a museology. Yeah. And that makes me think about the difference between digitalizing. When we talk about digital transformation in Italy, I mean, normally we present it as a sort of a third step in a process. Like before, first thing you have to digitize, that is to say, to convert heritage, to convert your things, your collection in digital format, like for example, scanning, 3D scanning an artwork. Then you have to digitalize, that is to say, convert your infrastructure, your data, your processes, like allowing you to work digitally within your team and also with your audiences. But then the third step is digital transformation, and that implies mindsets. Yeah. That implies thinking about culture and about heritage digitally first, and I think Filmcatcher is a very nice example.
Yeah.
And what do you think about? I mean, can you add something upon that about digital transformation processes in your team?
Yeah. I think that's a really important aspect that you mentioned, this digital transformation, and really big congratulations to the Filmcatcher team, because they did it like really in a really good way from the beginning already. Because they worked with external developers on this team, but the really important aspect of it is that they included the audience from the beginning. So the target audience, they asked. So there was a challenge, like how can we design this new intuitive and explorative and playful way of browsing through our collection, but they included directly the audience to see whatever they want, and the interesting part of this was that they were not afraid to use the digital archive. Like, okay, this is we got this material. Let's see what our audience want to do with it. And I think if you reach that level, then you reached digital transformation, because you are willing to use your digital material. You got your infrastructure right, so you can really think about the interaction that needs to and the output for the target audience. And that's a really interesting step.
How long lasted this process, this experimental process at the beginning to interact also with the audience?
Yeah, it was also quite interesting, because this project was also happening during COVID times. So for the physical installation and private, but they did it very well with. So it took. I'm not sure how long it took, but it's more about the pace of developing, I think, and the pace was really good. So with that, I meant everybody was on the same track, knew what to do, and so they could adjust the project while they were creating this whole installation. I think that was really cool.
And you can reach this kind of result if your team has a certain as a sort of level of digital literacy also. And I know that this is an important point for you and for your team.
I strongly believe that if you want to be digital minded and have that mindset, you really should get the knowledge about digital inside your organization. So of course you can work with external developers, with creators, and that's totally fine, of course, and really helpful. But you should have like a basic knowledge about digital within your organization. So you should really look into your teams, first analyze them, how digital literate are my teams, how well are we equipped with the knowledge, with resources, and use that also in the hiring process, so you can develop together a common language, a shared knowledge about what is digital for us and how can we use it. And that was also in the Filmcatcher, I think, done very well, because the team of Eye and the project manager, they had the knowledge, so they could really talk to the developers on a very great level. So all the focus could be laid on the outcome, like, okay, what kind of interaction do we want, and not about discussions about what is a database or how do we use it. So that's I think that's a really.
It's also a fun experience.
And it's a fun experience.
When you reach that kind of shared knowledge, common space of discussion, shared language, then also the fun comes in at a certain moment.
Absolutely, and I mean, in the cultural sector, we are really always focusing on aesthetics. We are so perfectionist together, and that creates beautiful output. But sometimes, especially in the digital, it's not something you can just buy and implement. You should really experiment with it, learn from it, make mistakes, and try to develop that knowledge together.
And probably also not be scared of making mistakes.
No, of course not. That's the beautiful thing about digital. I mean, if you ruin a painting while restoring it, it's ruined.
That's a problem.
With a digital file, I mean, you can experiment, you can build on it, and that's the beautiful thing about it. Yeah.
Okay, so I think we went through a lot of interesting and punctual projects relating to digital transformation, how things can be done digital by design. But you've been working for Eye for almost 10 years, something like you're collaborating with them. Is there something that really caught your attention, your also emotions in terms of impact that you reached with a specific project or something that digital transformation in Eye or gave you personally?
Yeah, it's more like a general example, I think, because everybody likes film, or in a way, everybody goes to the movies or watch it at home and is really fan of it. But most of the times, like really old films, like from 100 years ago, they are like labeled or seen as boring in advance, you know. But the beauty of it in Eye is also people come in totally blank and they just want to know something about cinema and the history about it. But then, for example, when they go to Filmcatcher or one of our programs, and they interact on a digital, new, modern way with really old films, and they are like suddenly like, wow, this is amazing. Like, we also have like in collection, it's called the Brilliant Biograph in our collection, and that's UNESCO World Heritage. Those are films from 120 years ago, and they're restored, digitized, and now we distribute them also through our Eye Film Player. And those images are so cool. You see people like swimming in the ocean, having fun together. It's like you and me, but then 120 years ago, and it's shot beautifully on the camera.
Like,
and then when the visitors walk out of our museum, like, wow, this is so cool.
After how many hours?
Yeah. So some people like after 10 minutes or multiple hours, that's totally fine. But if you can see like through a new way of interacting with film, you're like, wow, this is so cool. Yeah, that's amazing, and you see it all the time in the museum. It's great. Yeah.
This is something that really satisfied you as a digital project crafter in the museum.
Yeah, if I speak for myself, if I need to watch like a film from over 100 years ago, just on the screen from the beginning to the end, I'm not sure if I can make the end of the film. But like if you have like new ways to explore and to learn about this cinematography, it's really cool. Yeah,
Super.
Great.
I think we're done. Like we could talk much more, but I'm visiting very soon the museum, so I'm gonna bring
we're gonna organize a big group visit in Amsterdam.
Yeah, more than welcome. Yeah, we'll show you around.
To see if what you said is true.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. Thank you very much
to test it.
To test it. Thank you very much for being here, for being so kind to join this conversation. And I think it's time for lasagne or tortellini that you haven't tried yet.
Yeah, it's lunchtime.
It's lunchtime. Thank you very much again.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Traiettorie è un live podcast di BAM Strategie Culturali e Delizia Media. Puoi ascoltare o vedere le altre puntate su tutte le principali piattaforme di podcasting ai link che trovi in descrizione.